for 15 months. Apply today.
What would drive humans to leave Earth on a one-way ticket to Mars?
Achoo! It's my hay fever. I'm allergic to the planet.
There's a world of pollen blocking my nose.
There are 2 billion cats on Earth.
If only they tried. Nasonex Allergy. Nasonex Allergy targets 4 allergic responses. It gives you more effective hay fever relief than antihistamine tablets. Nasonex Allergy. Enjoy Earth.
At Officeworks, we have everything you need to organise your workspace. Protect all your documents with J. Burroughs A4 2-ring lever arch folders, a low $1.49 each. Store away your important work with a 100-pack of J. Burroughs full-scat manila folders, only $14.96. And keep your desk free of clutter with these 5-drawer storage organisers, only $16.96 each. Make your workspace wonderful with Officeworks. If you've got the big ideas, Officeworks has the lowest prices.
Pacific Islands. Another tough Tuesday. Is it Tuesday?
With P&O, you'll have so much to share. The $1 deposit sale is now on. Hundreds of cruises on sale. Go on, book now.
Are you ready for me to blow your minds? Wah! Look at your website, now look at mine. Back at yours. Yeah! Let's be honest, your website is older than leftover noodles and it's starting to stink. You need Wix.com.
Wix, create your stunning website today.
After the 7-seat Kia Sorento won 2 Australia's Best Cars Awards, Cars Guide Car of the Year and Drive's Best Family SUV, we did a lap of honour. Around Australia, Kia Sorento, Australia's best SUV.
An all-inclusive luxury France river cruise with Scenic from only $4,195. This extremely limited cruise offer will sell out fast. Call 138 128 today.
Welcome to Business Success. I'm Chloe James for RFI Group. So tonight it's all about retail and one of my favourite pastimes, shopping. I'm sure most of us would agree that the retail space would have to be one of the most competitive industries globally. There's always someone nipping at your heels, following your path and vying for that next customer dollar. So what do you do to set yourself apart? And in tonight's show specifically, how can you leverage technology to come out at the top of your game? Derek Kerr is the founder of Lounge Lovers, a retailer of designer furniture with an online-focused business model. Supported by a limited store network, the online model enables the business to sell at significantly lower prices than their traditional competitors. Nick Molnar has been in the online retail industry for close to 10 years. A born entrepreneur, he began selling jewellery at school, quickly built the most successful jewellery store on eBay ever, before launching Australia's largest online jewellery and watch retailer, Ice Online. At just 26, he's now the youngest CEO to have ever been listed on the ASX, with his latest venture, Afterpay. It's fair to say these two know retail, and can't wait to hear all about it. But first, a quick catch-up on today's business news. Business conditions and unemployment were up in June, a strong sign that the economy is keeping an even keel in the face of heightened political uncertainty at home and abroad. NAB's monthly survey of more than 500 firms showed business conditions added 2 points in June, well above the long-run average and around the highest since the global financial crisis. The Business Confidence Index bounced as well, more than reversing the dip in May. But the NAB says the survey is not suggesting any meaningful turnaround in the near-term inflation pressures. In fact, the survey's measure of retail prices fell, indicative of fierce competition in the sector. Businesses also upgraded their investment plans, with the measure of capital expenditure rising to a healthy +9. ANZ's Roy Morgan's Consumer Confidence Index is slipping for a third straight week amid election uncertainty, continued concerns over the global economy. The index is now partially reversing the huge spikes in May and early June, which saw the index reach 2.5-year highs. A warning from Standard & Poor's on the outlook for Australia's credit ratings are also having an impact. Wolsey Parsons rises on its joint venture, KP JV, and secures a contract in Kazakhstan. The company says the JV will provide engineering, procurement and construction services for expansion of an oil field in western Kazakhstan. Project completion is scheduled for 2021, when first oil is expected to be achieved. So how, or perhaps we should say why, does the CFO of a technology-focused venture capital fund end up working in the furniture business? Just 5 years ago, Derek Kerr decided to take the plunge and start his own business. He tells me now it's more about deciding which opportunities not to focus on as he attempts to keep up with his ever-growing business demand. Derek, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Chloe.
Thank you for being here. So I thought we'd start with a quick overview. Lounge Lovers, tell me about the business, who you are and what you do.
So Lounge Lovers is a furniture retailer in Australia. It was started to provide designer furniture at a fraction of the cost of the competitors out there. I guess it was started... Well, the idea came 6 or 7 years ago when I was in London. I was trying to buy furniture and everything seemed very expensive. So a few phone calls to some friends, we found out that the cost price of a sofa was $500. So I guess there was a frustration of trying to buy a sofa that cost $500, but the retailers down the road were selling it for $2,000. So we set out to try and make a business that got the cost right down for the retailer right down to close to $1,000 more.
Absolutely, and it's the online model that helps you achieve that?
Initially, and that's why the thing with business is very fluid. I had no retail experience, which was, I guess, a benefit in hindsight because I wasn't bogged down by some previous thinking. So we started an online model to try and cut all the costs of the traditional retail overheads. But we found out pretty quickly that everyone, as you'd probably think, would want to sit and touch a sofa before they purchased it. So we quickly realised that the best model to keep the costs down, but is to have a very strong online presence because everyone looks online and searches online now, whilst having a limited number of showrooms geographically spread within distance that people are happy to travel to save $1,000 on a sofa. So we certainly have changed our business model in the last 3 years from an online to an omni-channel retail model.
Absolutely, and I understand that customer service is a huge part of your business, obviously in the retail space. So I was looking around online today and saw that you'll take back anything, no questions asked, and things like that. Are these the kinds of things you do to sort of keep people engaged, involved, and happy dealing with your business?
Yeah, I mean, our whole business culture is we're trying to be friends with the customer. I was running late for tonight because I had a customer who ordered a very bespoke colour in a sofa, and it arrived and it was far too small for his room. So he called up and explained the situation, and we offered to take it back, which is very thankful for, and so we're going to put it in our clearance room. So. Yeah, we don't always do that, but where we can help a customer, we will. I had another customer who came in today to the showroom who said she came back today purely because 3 years ago myself and a colleague tried to deliver her sofa to the 10th floor. We got up to about the 9th floor, and as we got higher, the stairway came smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, so we got up there, couldn't squeeze it through, and took it all the way down. So whilst we didn't get the sale then, she came back and has furnished our house through us 3 years later. So all those little niceties, looking after the customer comes back and pays dividends in the end.
Absolutely. And a bit about you and your team, obviously just talking about the colleague that you worked with and the team that you've built. How do you think you've gone about building the best sort of culture at Lounge Lovers and building the best team around you?
Well, the first hire, which was certainly my best, and I wish I'd done it sooner, was I guess my right-hand man, James Croft, who joined us, and we complement each other very well. For the first year, we were going very, very slowly, and as soon as I got an extra person on board, things seemed to really take off. And there's no CEO as such, I'm not known as a CEO. It's a very collegiate approach where everyone is encouraged to make decisions. Certainly being a small team, things go a lot faster when everyone's making decisions, and we don't come down hard when they don't. We encourage them. If something goes wrong, we sit down and look at it. But certainly everyone is encouraged to make decisions, and that's the only way we can grow as quick as we do.
Yeah, because you're moving super fast. I know you're opening businesses around Australia.
Yes.
How's that process going? And obviously, I should have mentioned as well, you travel a lot internationally to sort of source all your goods.
Yes, so I'll start on the first question, I guess growth plans in Australia. So we are focused in Sydney. Now, a lot of people have the approach of very, very fast expansion from day one. We took the first sort of 3 to 4 years really nailing down, listening to the customer, trying to perfect the product, going back to suppliers, changing it, getting it perfect. Now that we believe the perfect product at the right price with the right suppliers, we're now ready to expand where the demand is. We're getting a huge amount of phone calls from Melbourne. You know, when are you coming to Melbourne? When are you coming to Melbourne? So that's the obvious next step. It's got the second biggest population. We're looking at stores in Brisbane as well. Getting a lot of demand from Perth and also New Zealand.
Wow.
We're having people. We're sending things to Hong Kong as well. So possible global expansion, but certainly for the next sort of 3 or 4 years, we're focused on getting out and giving our products to the rest of Australia.
Right, and how do you manage sort of the scalability and growth? That's another question I really like to ask my guests at the show. Do you have an advisory board? Do you have mentors? Obviously, your background in finance has probably helped in what you're doing today.
So scaling growth, and it's a tricky one between going too fast and blowing up, and then going too slow and wasting time, because time's the only thing that we are really short of. So, in terms of the advisory board, we've got my father. I'm lucky to have a father who's got a lot of experience at board level on some big companies, and he's sort of the sounding board and the sense check to make sure that you're doing everything properly and you're not going to go bust. And on the flip side, I've got a very optimistic, aggressive person, Rolf Kricklenberg, who advises us, who's very aggressive on growth. So get the optimism and excitement from Rolf, and also the common sense and sense check from my dad. So I'm just fortunate to have both of them.
Great.
Personally. Obviously, people like Richard Benson are mentors in the sense that I read the books, but obviously very not close. So.
Yep.
That's how we manage the growth without blowing up.
What would you say are some of the key things you've sort of learnt over the last 5 years while you've been growing this business, and perhaps some advice that you'd give to other people starting out? Have you always wanted to start your own business, for example?
Okay, well, I'll answer that first. The entrepreneur bug was always in me since the age of 6. I was been washing cars. I've employed someone at my primary school to help me wash cars. I always had that bug. Again,
He was on a payroll, or?
I don't think I paid him.
Okay.
Not in money anyway. So my father recommended I did the accounting route, finance, which I happily went into and really enjoyed, and did banking in London.
Right.
But it gets back to the question of what advice would I give to an entrepreneur? When I was in London, first got the idea, I was lucky enough to meet quite a few entrepreneurs, and the common theme was cash flow and time, and they all keep saying rule of thumb is everything takes twice as long and twice as much cash as you think it will. And generally entrepreneurs are pretty optimistic, and every time I don't use that rule of thumb, it sort of catches me out. So it's the best rule of thumb I can give to any entrepreneur, other than starting, is everything does take twice as long and
goes back to that grand designs thing, that it's always costs them so much more to build the house than they ever think it's going to, and take a lot longer. So just to be prepared for that, and I guess try and plan ahead as best you can.
Exactly. So yeah, entrepreneurs are generally optimists by nature. Just do that rule, double it. Worst case, you're prepared and you've got some money left over and you've got some time left over. But if you go the other way, you're out of cash and out of time. And obviously that's how a business can go bust.
Great, thank you, Derek. Look, thank you. We're out of time, but thank you for coming in. Great to have you on the show. Loungelovers.com.au. I'd suggest you check it out. After the break, we'll speak to Nick Molnar from Afterpay. See you then.
Right now, with a new NAB personal credit card, you'll enjoy 0% on purchases and 0% on balance transfers for 15 months. Apply today.
It takes a lot to create new life. Elevit has more folic acid and iron than any other pregnancy multivitamin. Folic acid is clinically proven to reduce the risk of neural tube defects. But it takes time to build up your nutrient levels. So you should start taking Elevit before you start trying. Take the first step for a healthy baby with Elevit, Australia's #1 pregnancy multivitamin, with you every step.
You think you've already found your ideal hotel? Well, before you book, check on Trivago to see if you can find it somewhere else for an even better price. Hotel Trivago.
There's something wonderful about a well-designed workspace. A space that inspires success and sparks new ideas. Find everything you need to make your workspace wonderful. If you've got the big ideas, Officeworks has the lowest prices.
You need a website. Why not do it yourself? With Wix, you can create your own professional website. Choose a template, change your text, add one of our images, or upload your own. And just like that, you've got your own stunning website.
Nighttime is my time with Olay Regenerist Overnight Miracle. From first drop, it helps renew your skin. And used with Olay's most advanced cream, it boosts skin renewal in just 5 nights. For firmer skin with visibly reduced wrinkles, search Olay Overnight Miracle.
We know you've always worked hard for your money. Isn't it time your money worked hard for you? Invest with La Trobe Financial. Trusted by Australians for more than 60 years and judged Money Magazine's best mortgage fund 7 years in a row.
The new Kia Cerato comes with Australia's only 7-year warranty and a stunning new design inside and out across the range. It starts with the Cerato S from just $19,990 drive away with free auto.
What is live?
With P&O, you'll have so much to share. New onboard water park coming soon to Pacific Explorer. Go on, book now.
Labor leader Bill Shorten is carrying on like he actually won this election. Time Labor realised it lost. But where to now? We ask Labor's most popular MP, frontbencher Anthony Albanese, on the next poll report. Only Sky News Live.
Welcome back to Business Success. I'm Chloe James. Shop now, pay later. Sounds pretty great to me. At just 26, Nick Molnar is the youngest CEO to have been listed on the ASX ever. Since the 31st of March this year, the total number of retail merchant clients live with his business Afterpay has grown more than 130%. And in the last 24 hours, I'm pretty happy to be able to share this, their share price has just risen shy of 10%. It's pretty amazing. So Nick, some impressive statistics. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So I thought we'd just start off talking about Afterpay, the business, what it's about, who you are and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So Afterpay is a relatively simple concept. We allow a customer buying in-store or online to receive their product straight away or take their product home when they buy in-store, and then pay Afterpay back through 4 fortnightly payments at no extra cost above what they would have originally paid when making their purchase. I come from a retail background, so I was one of those young entrepreneurs selling jewellery out of my bedroom while at university.
Okay.
When I was at university, I sold the most jewellery on eBay in Australia, and then ended up launching one of the largest online jewellers, ice.com, into the local market. And saw how instalment payments was progressing in America. It was a big part of online retail and really wanted to do it here in Australia. So built this business model about how we could launch buy now, pay later locally. But quickly realised that there's no social security number in the Australian market, so it's very difficult to determine someone's creditworthiness. So to cut a really long story short, my neighbour at my parents' place when I was selling jewellery was a guy named Anthony Eisen. He was running a big investment fund called Guinness Peak Group.
Okay.
And he approached me one day when I was walking my parcels up to the post office, and he said, "I hate to pry, but what do you do?"
Looking dodgy.
Yeah, so we got speaking, and he was finishing selling all of his investments in GPG, and then we discussed, what were some of the opportunities that I saw in the technology space. So I gave him 2 businesses. He told me one he really didn't like, but Afterpay was one that he liked.
Wow.
And we got speaking, and ultimately through Touch Corp, Anthony used to own a company, through GPG, Anthony used to own a company called Touch Corp that processes payments for clients like Optus, 7-Eleven. They do the Medicare rebate platforms. When you go in and get a rebate, that's Touch Corp. So we understood what they did from a transaction integrity engine perspective and said that could be our social security number. Based on that technology, we can score someone in real time and allow them to receive their products straight away. So that's how Afterpay was born. We've been growing really quickly, as you mentioned. We raised $8 million in July last year. We had about 3,000 customers and less than 10 retailers. 10 retailers that were just friends of mine from the market that I promised it would work. Fast forward 9 months, 10 months, We've now got over 100,000 customers, over 300 retailers, and we're growing really quickly. We processed over $20 million of sales through the platform last quarter. So having a lot of fun, stars have aligned, and really enjoying myself.
They absolutely have, and so it's I mean it's a real kind of difference from the old school lay-by concept, right? Where you sort of pay, you don't have your goods yet. I'm sort of just breaking it down here, but so you get to just take that product away, pay it in really easy installments. So it's a huge consumer sort of delightful product, I would have thought. Yeah, and a great business model. So technology has really enabled your business. I know that you do a lot. It's all online at the moment, but you are moving in store, I understand, currently.
Yeah, so when I first built the business, I came at it from an online perspective. But then what I quickly realised when we started speaking to some of the big omni-channel retailers, that lay-by was the bane of everyone's existence. And I heard an interesting saying from one of my retailers, which is lay-by is like visiting your clothes in jail. It's like the old school, antiquated form of spreading your payment. So as we built Afterpay, it was very much, I would like to build the business case online, but the end goal was always, how do we prove this in store? Can we replace lay-by? It provides the customer with such a better experience to be able to take their product home straight away, wear it on the weekend, or display their homewares tomorrow in their house rather than waiting for their next pay cycle. So ultimately technology's enabled us, it's actually driven us to be able to facilitate an offer that almost surprises our customers. You know, they buy from us because they get to spread their payment, but the real reason why they buy from us is because of the value that we add to their lives.
Yeah, the value is amazing. Let's talk about listing. So you've just listed. Amazing experience, I would expect, for a 26-year-old, youngest sort of founder of a company to be on the ASX in Australia, obviously. How was that experience? How do you deal with your shareholders? What does it feel like?
Yeah, so listing was probably the biggest decision I made, obviously, other than getting married. But look, I think there's times in your personal and business life where you're taking that next step that you haven't made before, and you have to dare yourself to be brave. I'm very, very lucky that I have a fantastic co-founder, Anthony Eisen, whose background is public market, and you really need to lean on advisors and co-founders and people that you trust to make sure that you're making the right decision. Ultimately, we listed because we were growing really quickly, and we wanted to prove to the biggest retailers in Australia that from a business compliance perspective, we weren't just highest level of payments compliance, we're always also highest level of business compliance.
And you were serious.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a very big decision, and look, everything's going really well. There's obviously extra work in maintaining your shareholder relationships, etc., etc. But overall, it provides a fantastic launch platform, and it's really put Afterpay on the map.
It certainly has. You recently won this FinTech Best Innovation in Payments Award, just sort of kicking goals all over the place. How was it to win that? That's an amazing space to be playing in to begin with, and to win the coveted prize.
Absolutely. Yeah, look, I think it's funny, when I look at my organisation, I've kind of got sales, probably customer service and technology are the three key pillars. Sales is always kicking goals because they're always signing people up, but what this award was really for was our product team, our customer service team. Innovation's driven by how well you treat your customers, and how innovative your product is, how much you differentiate yourself from the rest of the market. So it was very, very rewarding for the whole team to win that award.
It's amazing to hear that from you about your team. Onto your team, I think it's quite interesting. How do you run a team sort of at your age? I imagine you've got quite a few people in the business, you know, gaining their respect and sort of being this business leader to them. How have you built the team around you to work with that?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. I've built a team that I genuinely feel privileged to be able to go to work with every day. There's pieces of the puzzle that you need to fill to know that you're piecing it together in the right way to make your business a success, and we've got a really, really great team, which is, I guess, fortunate, but also enables us to grow as quickly as we like. I kind of relate it back to when I was finishing school. You know, I was trying to be a professional rugby player. I was playing for the Roosters in their under-17s and 18s.
You're an underachiever, Nick.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, I look at my team similar to how I look at my rugby team, which is we were always taught to trust the person next to you, never doubt that person, and really strive to do as best as you can. In an early stage company that's growing really quickly, you can't afford to doubt anyone in your team. You can't afford to micromanage anyone either. So we're lucky that we've got a really good team that I trust wholeheartedly to execute each aspect of the business.
Giving them autonomy to make decisions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful. And we do need to wrap up soon, but just a last few things on your advice to people starting out in business, starting something. Have you got any top tips?
Yeah. My advice would be twofold. One is stay really, really focused. You know, Afterpay as a concept is not reinventing the wheel. It's a familiar concept to customers and retailers, and then focus on your customer. You know, we always put on our wall what's our end customer number that we want to achieve. You know, we had this target, a really ambitious target of 100,000 customers by the middle of the year, and we achieved that. And customers enable you to do really great things, and they end up becoming your ambassadors. So I'd say focus on your customer and make sure you stay focused.
Fantastic, brilliant advice. Look, thank you, Nick. Thanks for being
Thanks
here.
for having me.
Afterpay, a pretty impressive business. That's it from me at Business Success. I hope you really enjoyed tonight's show and are feeling inspired and informed about some of the great businesses coming out of Australia today. I feel like going shopping. Anyway, good night. I'm Chloe James, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.
From the moment we boarded our France River cruise, Scenic were different. Days are filled with included excursions, so many to choose from. Farmers markets, artist gardens, wine tasting in vineyards, cycling tours and private cooking classes. I can't believe Scenic includes it all in the price, yet they do.
An 11-day France River cruise from 4195. See your Scenic agent or call 138 128.